Hello guys, this is Aloysius Zanderman here with my review for a video game. And my video game that I am reviewing today will be Frog Pond for the Atari 2600, as you can see. And I'm playing it with my modern Atari VCS. Now, what is a modern Atari VCS, you may ask? Well, the modern Atari VCS would likely have controllers like these. Controllers like these. Modern Atari VCS for Frog Pond and other games on the Atari VCS Modern. And it could also maybe be called, other names like Atari VCS or Atari VCS 800. But at least that is a rumor that is floating around the Atari industry of this new Atari sort of conundrum. Because after all, if you have a game like Frog Pond for the Atari 2600, an unreleased game for the Atari 2600, you're probably thinking of a frog that's doing something, whatever the frog may be doing. Like, this is just a doll frog that I have, just to kind of illustrate to you the frog mentality. So maybe there are those video games where you have a frog in a video game that does this, it does that, and, gets flies or jumps on a leaf or jumps over a log and gets into a nest. You never know. But this is the frog mentality, And well, with Frog Pond for the Atari 2600, I think a lot of things could have been done better for the game. For one thing, even with this Atari VCS joystick I have here, which is of Atari 5200 style and the joystick tilts, even if it may seem Atari 2600 joystick style, there's something to be said about how there are limits to modern gaming when it comes to really getting the modern flavor to the modern substance, because substance and flavor do not always exactly mesh together. So maybe I would play Frog Pond with this frog here and with my reference to Frog Pond here. And maybe I see the sky in the game, I see the ocean in the game, or what appears to be a lake or a pond, what I see to be a body of water, what I see to be bugs and flies and mosquitoes and other critters flying in the sky for my frog to swallow, for my frog to eat and consume, with this whole Atari conundrum of Xbox style like sort of gameplay and conundrum. And it makes me wonder if something should be meant more for the provocative measure of a frog to the bending of a joystick, or if there should be something of the bending of a frog to the measure of an Xbox style thumbstick brand. And there's that conflict of thumb and joy. Thumb and joy. As in, like, joy is like me doing this. That's my joy, as you can see there, if you don't mind my creepy eyes right there. And, like, thumb would be like, like maybe thumb on this, or maybe thumb on this, or maybe thumb on this, or maybe, like, thumb on this frog, or whatever. Or maybe, like, I could hold this on and put my thumb here and erase part of the name, as you can see there with my thumb. And it gets difficult to tell if my thumb is really the best precision tool for a game like Frog Pond, or if there should be something more of a wrist twist, as in like me holding this Atari 2600 style joystick and going this way and going that way, hitting the fire button to get my tongue at the lash of the frog's food and fly stuffing. And it gets hard to tell if I should really consume more flies, or if I should consume more mosquitoes, or if I should consume more gnats. And there's all this stuff of like just this Atari Xbox style sort of thing going on, where it makes me wonder, with this old and new coming into my awareness of existence, if there should be something of retro to the modern futurism of the retro style. And it makes me wonder, like, sheesh, like, what can I do? I mean, could I really go with all these dice here of, like, the frogs and the flies to go around? I mean, and maybe this dice says this dice says this dice says this, and maybe a rubber ducky would like to give a pardon and say something for the high score of the temperament. But we never really exactly know with this Frog Pond game, because while it may be called Frog Pond, if you remember my erasures, there's something to be said about, like, the wild conundrum of the frog, swallowing bugs, like eating up the bugs, eating up the dice. Like, you can imagine the frog eating up the dice and everything, like this dice here, and eating up the dice. But we never exactly know, and for that reason, I think Frog Pond for the Atari 2600 would have been an interesting idea in 1982, but I would say even in 1980, the idea would have been pretty outdone by other games that would have existed for the Atari 2600 gaming console at the time. And these are not Atari 2600 video game equipment. These are Atari VCS Modern video game equipment. And definitely, let's keep in mind that there are all those minor differences with, like, that modern Atari thing or that modern Atari thing, or like this rubber ducky versus that rubber ducky thing versus that rubber ducky thing. And it makes you wonder, like, if there really should be this situation of the provocative measure of our exact awareness to the leisure of probability to the small points of exactments, or if there should be, like, this whole thing of the point to the point of joystick to thumbstick match of our awareness to the frog pond mentality of the frog going about and measuring things for the wonderabouts of the Frog Kingdom and the Frog Castle Leisurement. And with that in mind, I'll leave that up to you. If I may go to this thing of my Atari 2600 awareness and my Atari VCS gaming and video game retro style, modern style Atari VCS 800 conundrum. And I'll leave that to you, and you take care. God bless.